Okay.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Farrell, and I'm a professor of chemical engineering at Rowan University. I'm also the vice chair of the American Society for Engineering Education's Diversity Committee. Today I'm speaking with Elizabeth Walzel, Director of Strategy Implementation for Dow's organization and president of the Dow Engineering Company. Elizabeth is at AIChE's spring meeting in Houston to join me in leading a Safe Zone workshop that's designed to make AIChE events and chemical engineering workplaces more welcoming, especially for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or LGBT individuals. At Dow, Elizabeth has been a longtime ally and sponsor of GLAD, or Gays and Lesbians at Dow. Elizabeth, Dow has been a corporate leader in championing diversity and inclusion. Most of us feel that this is just the right thing to do. But more and more people are realizing that there's a strong business case for diversity. Could you offer us a few words of introduction to the business case for diversity?
Sure, Stephanie. Dow has understood for a long time that there really is a business case for diversity and inclusion. And it's one of the reasons that we started the GLAD network along with several other affinity networks years ago. Since Dow's a business-to-business company, it's a little bit hard to point to the hard dollars that are either saved or gained by diversity and inclusion. It's a little bit hard to directly measure that, but we know that there is true advantage, not just in recruiting, but also in retention. And more than that, there's a huge advantage in productivity and the creativity and the collaboration in our workforce when we have inclusion. And this is for all aspects of diversity, not just gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual. And so we've put a lot of energy into that over the last 15, 20 years.
Thank you. Your commitment is really heartfelt, and I was wondering if I might ask, is there any particular person or event that might have drawn you to this cause?
Yeah, a good question. So I'm not like some people who have a very close friend or family member that's gay or lesbian, but there was a particular event. I hired into Dow in 1984, and I have lived the benefit of working for a company that was really serious about diversity and inclusion and respect and responsibility. And so as a female in the control rooms in 1984, I really have appreciated the fact that I work for a company that's serious about this, and I've never had to face harassment or discrimination. And so wind the clock forward 14, 15 years after that, the day they announced the GLAD network at Dow, I was production leader, which is, plant superintendent for 3 of our plants in Freeport. And let me tell you, Stephanie, the conversation that went on in the control room that day was absolutely a hostile work environment. Mm-hmm. If one of the members of our team, who is gay, although the rest of the team didn't know about it, if he'd been in the control room that day, it would have been a hostile work environment. And so I just had 2 realizations. The first of all is that would have been really unfair for him to hear that. But the bigger realization is that this potentially could disrupt the really good collaboration and teamwork we had in that group. Just by their behavior, I could tell that they were so uncomfortable with that thought that it really might get in the way of us being as productive a team as we were before. And so I realized that that I really needed to do something more to help not just people understand what appropriate behavior is. We can punish people into having appropriate behavior or stopping inappropriate behavior. But more than that, we need to get people really comfortable with all aspects of inclusion so that they can really be inclusive and collaborative and work well together regardless of their differences. So that's really what made me step up and get involved.
Thank you. Younger engineers are generally seen as more welcoming than some of our senior colleagues. Are there any approaches for different generations of engineers or other employees, maybe strategies for breaking down cultural barriers and assumptions?
Right. Well, this is one woman's opinion, but I'll tell you what I think. First of all, you're right. I think the millennial generation has spoken, and the vast majority of those folks are really believe that companies should be fully inclusive and have, same benefits for everybody. So for them, what's important to us is to make sure that they know that Dow intends to have a fully inclusive culture and a fully inclusive workplace. And so that's just setting the stage, a company that they want to work for, and they come in with the expectation that that's how we are. For some of my more senior colleagues, as well as some of our colleagues in the less inclusive geographies, I mean, there are just some geographies that are less liberal than others. I'd say that there are a couple of more steps. First of all, we have to define expectations. We have to let people know what Dow expects as far as respect and responsibility, how we value diversity, how we expect the diversity and inclusion to be part of every work group. But we have to go beyond that. I think that equally important is an investment in helping people be comfortable being inclusive. Some of that, a lot of that comes from working side by side with people and getting to know them as individuals and delivering good results together. So that the collaboration and the results from the teamwork will automatically help people be more comfortable with each other. But to expedite that and to make a more broad impact, that's where the company networks and the diversity and inclusion training come into play. But it's also where our strategy of having a lot of allies involved in our culture change comes in, because a lot of the comfort is gained through lots and lots of discussions and interactions and just having the conversations to help people get more comfortable. And so that's why in our GLAD network, we still have an intent to have majority allies as part of the network. And that's not just so that, we can get to know each other more at meetings and, folks will have a better network. It's also because we have the ability to, intervene if we would need an intervention, but to, put a sticker up in our office or, participate in some event or whatever, just to make it really clear to everybody that we do have all sorts of diverse people working at Dow so that we can all get comfortable with it.
Great. I was wondering if there's any advice that you might offer to a young LGBT engineer starting out a career.
Well, I would offer the same advice to that person as I would to anybody starting out in their career, which is to focus first and foremost on delivering really great results on work that's important to your organization. I probably would then follow up by suggesting that to deliver your best work, you need to be comfortable being yourself at work and comfortable with the collaboration that you have with your colleagues. And so I probably would also advise to think through that and make sure that the situation will be good for you and put you in a position where you can be yourself at work and you can deliver your best results when you're making your choice.
Good advice. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us today and for sharing your thoughts on the importance of diversity within our profession, within companies, AIChE, and the connected community.
You're so welcome. Glad to be here.